So 99% of e-commerce businesses fail with launching new products or growing their business because they lack these three things. And today in this video, I want to dive into three of the reasons why that happens and what are the roadblocks that these e-commerce companies run into that stop them from being successful. But first, if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button and share this video with anybody you think could get value from this. So let's dive into it. What are the three reasons why 99% of e-commerce companies fail and they struggle with a new product launch? Number one, and this isn't not in any type of order or hierarchy. I'm just listing the three reasons out. So number one is strong copy. If you want somebody to buy an item from you and they're not interacting with you in person, your copy needs to speak to how they make decisions. It needs to really connect with them. It needs to handle the objections that they probably have in their head, and the copy needs to answer those. So what I see happen a lot is people want to launch new products or they want to launch new e-commerce businesses and they haven't validated the product. And when I say validated, I don't mean validate this new concept to see if it actually works, because there's a lot of companies out there that sell products that are already being sold and they find success in it. And there's some companies that try to do that and they fail. What I mean is, will people buy from you? Based on how you describe the product or describe what you're doing, will people buy from you? So a lot of companies don't do the due diligence of understanding how their customers think and what gets them to make them lead them to a buyer decision. And that comes from strong copy. And that strong copy comes from you doing research. You have to, what I like to call, you do things that do not scale. And what I mean by that is, if you have a company, let's say you're selling specialized sunglasses. In the beginning, you could call up customers and close them, or you could go to farmers market or go to a venue where you could actually sell your product. But if you 10x or 20x or 100x that company, you're not going to be able to manage going to these markets and going to these places and scale. But the cool thing about doing things in the beginning that do not scale is you get to learn a lot about your customer and how they think. You get to hear their thoughts as they explain to you why they don't want to buy. What's important about that time of your business is now you can document that process and take note, take that information and turn that into copy. So that helps you develop strong copy. Now, if you're not good at writing copy, then the next step would be to hire somebody who has strong copywriting skills. So do your research, do your due diligence, understand why people buy from you, why they don't buy, and document that process. Share it with your copywriter so they can build your copy around that. So that's number one, lack of strong copy. They try to do it themselves and they skip steps. Number two is consistency with engagement. Being consistent, I think, is one of the most underrated things that businesses do or don't do, I guess you could say. Just because you put a product in front of somebody when you send an email out, that doesn't give them a reason. They're not compelled to buy that product when you want them to buy. Heck, we all have things going on in our lives. You have no idea what's going on in their life. So when you send that email, that doesn't mean that they're ready to buy. But what you need to do is you need to build that relationship and you need to stay in front of them long enough to the point where it is the right time for them to buy. And like I said, let me reiterate, just because you send an email to somebody or a text message or call them doesn't mean it's the right time for them to buy because you want them to buy. So in order for you to build relationships or drive more sales, you have to be in front of them over a period of time. I read a quote where they said probably on average 3% of your customers, depending on the industry you're in, are at that moment where they're ready to buy from you. Especially the bigger the product, the more expensive it is, the more those numbers are more accurate. So consistency with engagement, showing up, sending emails, the text messages, the social media, being in front of them, connecting with them, inspiring them, educating them, entertaining them, whatever is related to your industry, you need to do that consistently. And most companies, smaller companies and medium-sized companies, when they're trying to launch these new avenues, they don't do that enough. And that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where you really see the results, because you may have 20 people that get into your list, or that you see as potential customers, and they all have different times in their life when they're at that point where they're making ready to make a buyer decision. Maybe you started that relationship with them, in May, and they weren't ready to buy until July or August. That's totally okay. But it's up to you to stay in front of them, to give them a chance, so when they are ready to buy, they decide to buy with you because you're easy to access. And number three, this one's a big one, because most companies, when you can figure out how to get clients to buy, that's awesome. Or existing contacts to buy, that's awesome. If you have great copy, that's incredible as well. That's going to help you out a lot with turning prospects to customers, potential customers to buying customers. But what a lot of companies don't figure out early on in their business, or when they're trying to scale their business, is the acquisition channels. You have to have reliable channels for how you get new people in the door. And there's so many ways to do that. If you're an e-commerce brand, you could use a marketplace. And I've talked about this before. A marketplace, eBay, Etsy, depending on your niche, Amazon, all those are different marketplaces that help you find new customers and get them into your funnel, get them into your world. I wouldn't say that's one of the most overlooked, but that's another one that's really overlooked, is building out a viable acquisition channel. So I read some stats that said in 2022, this is worldwide, the e-commerce sales is at about 29 trillion. $29 trillion. That's a lot of money. So there's people out there buying things. If they're not buying from you, then that may be part of how you're approaching them. And that number, even regardless of where the economy is right now, is expected to go up to about $34 trillion by 2025, 2026. So that's telling me that people are out buying things. They're going to continue to buy things. That's going to increase over time. So if you're not getting the type of sales that you want, you should look at these three areas. One is the copy. Is your copy really correlated to your audience? Is your copy speaking to what they really care about and connecting with them along their buyer's journey? Two, are you being in front of your audience, being consistent enough for them to get to the point when they're ready to buy? I think that's a overlooked one that many businesses can overlook, and it's something that you need to focus on. If you're struggling, a lot of the struggling businesses, I would say, is staying in front of people, consistency. And then number three is, what acquisition channels are working for you? Are you doubling down on the acquisition channels to get people into your funnel, where you can build that relationship, where you can engage with them over time? If you are doing those three things, you're definitely going to see growth in your business. And like I said, those are probably, after working with 400 or 500 companies, the ones that are struggling, 99% of the time, they are struggling with these three areas. So if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And even more, if you know somebody who could benefit from this video, please feel free to share this with them. I hope that this was super helpful. I am excited to see what you guys do. If you have any questions, please leave those in the comments. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time.